of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, you may be seated. So we want to thank Jim Golseth, attorney of business law, for being an attendance taker, Dennis Clare, treasurer, and Ricky broker, Ricky Waltons, and then Andrew Evans, our spirit run leader and technology assistant. All right, so we care. Somebody want to take a gun? People dying. I met a guy who said if somebody breaks into their house, they're gonna be shot dead. We got it. They tried the front door. This is a really good one. Oh, I'm coming to help you, Sally. And the guy was inside the screen door, and then the wing, ring finally started recording the guy's back, but you got the voice of, oh, well, come out to the front door and open it. I'm here in Pleasanton. And the guy, I guess he was from out of town. But boy, what a great cover story. You were invited to the house. They picked the wrong house, Joy. So thank God you're safe. And it's just, don't you feel like you've been raped? It's terrible. All right. So let's one heart, one club. We're not talking about the poker game. Sing it for us, please, Ricky, Don Lewis.
Hello, Rotarians and guests. Today we're going to sing One Heart, One Club. Let's go to it.
One heart, one club, one club. Let's get together, do good, have fun. We do wheelchairs and the spirit run. Let's get together, do good, have fun. Rotary gives thanks, and when the work is done, let's get together, do good, have fun. One heart, one club, one club. Let's get together, do good, have fun. Peace to serve us, a new day has come. Let's get together, do good, have fun. Mother, daughter, father, son. Let's get together, do good, have fun. One heart, one club, one club. Let's get together, do good, have fun. One heart, one club. Let's get together, do good, have fun.
Come on up, Jake Bucknor for our inspiration.
Thank you. Does anyone here know David Helmbach? Anybody know that name? I would be really surprised because he was my scoutmaster back in Cincinnati. But I just want to tell you about David. We are the charter organization for a scout troop, and so there's some scout history and involvement here. David was one of those people. He was always positive, welcoming you, knew your name, and how you doing on your requirements. And just a great role model. But there were a couple things about David that stuck with me. The first thing was he originally from Evansville, Indiana. He worked on the railroad, and he suffered an injury to his leg, and as a result, one of his legs ended up being 1 inch shorter than the other one. So at the time, he had to walk with a limp with a cane, and it kind of destroyed his hip. So unfortunately, when we went camping just on short hikes, he would come, but you could tell there was a real struggle for him, but he still did it. But there was one thing about Dave, is that he had type 1 diabetes. And at the time, you know, it was all about the shots, so at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, occasionally, when it was 10 degrees outside, he would have to find a way to give himself shots. I never heard him complain in the 6 or 7 years that I was in Scouts, not one time. And he never said anything about his struggles. But it was an inspiration for those of us at the time, and for me, like 40 years later, just to think about what he did to help us grow up, become model citizens, respect people that had struggles and disabilities. It was an inspiration for us, and to this day, I still remember that, and I'm so dedicated to his memory and to the Scouts.
Thank you. All right, visiting Rotarians and guests. We have a couple. Gary Barker, pastor, are you still a club member somewhere?
Yes.
Glad to see you all. I am. Many of you know I went to Africa from 203 to 215 in theological education. And I came back and was called back to the church in Paso Robles, where I first pastored from 71 to 86. And we worked there for 5 years and got old, and we retired in last December. And we're up here now working with my grandson. He's going to get married in June the 10th. I'm working with him and his fiance. But the real neat thing, we're going up to Davis High School on Saturday for our 60th high school reunion. So I know that sounds old, but you know, we're glad to be here. And this is a wonderful place. I remember the beautiful lunches we had over here for years and years and years. And it's glad to see some of the guys, Brad and my colonel, my favorite colonel, a lot of you and Gary. Congratulations for being the president. It's just glad to see you. Glad to be here.
Good to have you.
Sure, President Gary and other Rotarians, we have a guest here today in the category of.
Electrical contractor, is that me?
And yes, you are, and name of.
Oh, you didn't give my clarification.
The Dublin Club, yes.
Hey, that was good, thank you. It's all good.
President Gary, fellow Rotarians and guests, I'd like to introduce Dave Clausen. Dave has applied for membership to our club. He's a long-term Pleasanton resident. He's been in all kinds of charities. We were in the Valley Care Charitable Foundation for many years, working together. So please give a warm welcome to Dave Clausen.
We got any other guests? Yes. We got a few guests. Well, yeah, we got. We're gonna get you. But long. Need to get up to the line. Happy with us.
President Gary, fellow Rotarians, I have 3 guests today. First of all, I'd like to introduce Kathy and Don Comerford, who are the founders of Comerford Heating and Air Conditioning 45 years ago. 55. And when you hear the success of our speaker today, this was the start of it all. The other guest I have today is well known to all of you. A former regional vice president of Sherwin-Williams Paint Company, the president and CEO of Kelly Moore, but most famously, he's the mentor of our speaker, Kevin Comerford. I would like to say one other thing, all of you who have friends in Pleasanton North Rotary, be sure and tell him Joe was here today, and Joe is coming to our fundraiser, because Gina wants to hear it.
Thank you, Brad. Come on up. All the way imported from India.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I bring to you the greetings and wishes from District Governor Gerald of District 3000, Tamil Nadu, India. So I'm from Karur, a tier 2 town from India, Tamil Nadu. And I'm a member of Rotary Club of Karur Young Gen. We're a pretty new club. We'll see our first year completion next month. We're a 40-member closely knit club. We were sponsored by Rotary Club of Karur from District 3000. It's a 65-year-old club and one of the largest in that region with 350 members, our sponsor club. And our sponsor club has produced 2 district governors. One of them, Rotarian C. Bhaskar, served as an RA director, Rotary International Director from the year 2017 to 2019. And coming to our club, as the name suggests, we are very young folks. Our average age of the club is around 33 years. Wow. Yeah, and we meet twice a month, usually over a game of cricket or basketball. Cricket is a very common game in India. So we play the game and then we have the meeting and wind up with the dinner. And last month we did a fundraiser. We raised over $3,000, which is a $250,000 Indian rupees, a significant amount back in India. And we donated a major chunk of the money to help people get screened and treated for bowel cancer, 4th most prominent cancer in India. Unlike in the United States, given the Indian population and its economic diversity, not all people can afford their medical expenses. So organizations like Rotary pitch in and bridge the gap. So yeah, so if there's an opportunity for both of us to work together on a project or a global grant or any way, we'll be more than willing to work together. And I welcome all of you to India. We call it Incredible India. There's so much to see and explore. So please do visit. And thank you for having me here. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
All right, we have one more guest, save the best for last. My most beautiful, loving wife of 37 years in September, and I had 3.5 years for dating time. Phoebe.
We have a couple of Rotarians on Zoom who might want to say hello.
Hello.
Hello to all. And
Hello.
I can't do Joe, but I'm glad to know you're there. And Kevin too.
Steve, thank you here.
Great to see you guys.
Good to see you guys.
All right.
See you guys. Good.
Okay, next new member. Ricky, are you?
Yes. Did James White come up front, please? He's right up front. Awesome. We're gonna go to that side so we're not have this thing projecting on our face. All right, it is my privilege to welcome our newest Rotarian again. This is James White. And he's obviously gonna get his red, he was asking, where's my name tag? Well, there it is, your red badge. Here's your certificate of membership right here. We proudly present that to you. There's a rotary pin in here, and there's also a 4-way test, which if you don't already know, that's the 4-way test over there in that banner. I'm gonna ask James some questions to tell us a little bit about himself. So tell us a little bit about your family and that.
All right, we'll start with family. They're the part I like the best anyway. So I have a wife and 5 kids.
Very good.
My oldest is about to graduate high school, so I'm a little bit not used to this. I'm not ready for it. So what do you do? And then I have my favorite child, my dog.
So work history and that.
What's your vocation? What do you do?
He's about to tell us.
I'm a family law attorney. Help with the funnest parts of life.
when we were in a networking group, he said the super romantic prenuptial agreement, that's what he does too, in addition, so, and then from there, maybe hobbies and interests.
Oh, I've forgotten. Let's put it over. Well, I like the normal, fishing and hunting and those kind of things,
And murder
but
mystery parties.
I murder mystery parties. And, well, I got 5 kids, so they pretty much take all my time. So my hobbies are their hobbies. Whatever we're interested in that day, that's what we're interested in.
Something funny or interesting you can experience with club,
Oh, I know you told me to think of something.
Mr. King.
My first boss when I became an attorney was Rick King. So he gave me
So he's got a
Good
very
introduction.
famous Rotarian boss in his first boss, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, what area of service are you interested in, getting involved in with the club?
I think the one that most interests me right off the top is the watch, the.
Right.
Yeah, since law school, I've helped run a couple of orphanage schools out in South Sudan, so.
Awesome. Well, we proudly present you this. You also get a shirt and it's probably not the right size, so you can exchange it, but that's our Rotary shirt. Everyone, please give a hand for James White. Thank you.
Welcome, Ben.
Welcome, James.
All right, Deanna Mario, we missed you when the governor was here. She wanted to see you. Come on down. Deanna Mario, the real estate queen, with a lot of time to community service and building community and income for people. So thank you for your donation. You have a call. All right, Adam or Kevin, Andrew, you ready to say anything about?
Sure, I guess I'll. Spirit Run is October 22nd. Please put it on your calendars. We're looking forward to seeing all your wonderful faces there bright and early in the morning to help us out. I know a few of you we've spoke to already about the committees that you're doing all beforehand. I know some of you guys are unfortunately not going to be able to make it, but hope to see you all there. And if you guys want to do something more than what you guys are already doing, come find me or Kathy and we will get you there.
Thank you. All right, helper event. Who's here to support the Bob, Ricky, Julio. Julio, he went out to Livermore promoting, he went to the Livermore Rotary Club. Thank you for your time and sacrifice.
Thank you. So yesterday I went to the Livermore Rotary Club and promoted our event. I think there's quite a bit of interest that I could see in the room. So we'll see if they would sign up on our website. But anyway, the event is coming up real quickly, about 10 days from now.
Wait for tomorrow.
Sorry?
Wait for tomorrow.
A week from tomorrow, yeah. So I have been contacting various members on different roles that they can help with the different areas at the event. So, but I will be sending out individual emails starting today to talk about specifics. So please look out for that. So and go there, play, have good dinner, meet friends. And maybe you win this one, which if you win, you get to keep it for a year. And the first winner is what, $300? $500. The second is three, and the third is 100. Good luck.
In remembrance of Michael J. Hosterman, he says that all kinds of things have been done with this, used for certain things. So he guarantees that it has been sterilized and safe for the next person. Okay, so student line. Come on down.
All right, hello Rotarians. Thank you so much for graciously inviting us to lunch. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to honor one of our students as the student of the quarter. This here is Tyler Shea. He's Village High School's student of the quarter for our third quarter. Tyler does an amazing job. He's a leader at our school. We go ahead and we accumulate credits through the quarter Tyler is constantly one of the top leaders in terms of credits earned at our school. He's doing a wonderful job. We love his honesty and his humor because he does not cut corners. When we ask him, hey, what happened? He will directly tell us, which we don't get out of a lot of kids. So it's always great. He's always honest, always upbeat, always respectful to us. And he does all of his schoolwork while maintaining a job at Wente, which is great. He's able to manage both of those things. So we wanted to honor Tyler. He's done an amazing job for us. He's joined by his mother and grandmother here today. So thank you for letting them be a part of this as well.
So on behalf of our club, I would like to present a certificate and $100 check and congratulate you.
Mom's important, and I think you probably. Oh, come out. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. They're all come up. Here, I'll get out of the way. John, thank you.
Thank you. Great job. Keep up the good work. Jesse,
Next time, so I have to move so much. I know.
Exposed. Myth number 1. Rotary is only for business networking. While Rotary was in fact founded as a professional group, its purpose has always been centered on service to the community and in fact the world. Both the personal and professional contacts that you will undoubtedly make are just a wonderful side benefit of joining Rotary. Myth number 2. Rotary is just an old boys club. There was a day when Rotary was comprised of just local businessmen, but that was long ago. Here's the bottom line. We're simply looking for high-character men and women in our community that want to serve. Myth number 3. Rotary is expensive. Actually, Rotary membership fees vary from club to club, community to community. Some are as little as mere dollars per month. Myth number 4. If I can't make the meetings, I can't be in Rotary. Rotary is about serving. If you want to help us serve the community, but just can't get to regular meetings, your local club will absolutely find a way for you to participate. Myth number 5. I just don't have time to be a Rotarian. Did you or does your business have 2 hours per month to contribute to the community? We can show you some reasonable goals and examples of how to get yourself involved in Rotary inside of your busy schedule. So you see, David did have some concerns about joining Rotary until he heard the whole story. Don't let these myths stand in your way. Start your Rotary journey of service right now, because the world needs Rotary, and Rotary needs you.
All right, was there any other announcements? Did we miss anything? Anybody? We're at the top of the hour, Kevin. We gotta get you back as a club member. Brad, you ready?
Ready.
Kevin used to be in our club. Used to 5 years ago. We miss you.
Stand over here. President Gary, fellow Rotarians, it's a pleasure today to welcome Kevin Comerford. Kevin grew up in Pleasanton, attended Foothill High School. He matriculated to Cal Poly, where his grade point average greatly exceeded that of Larry Annis. While in college, he got part-time job with the Las Vegas Raiders. Oh, I'm sorry, the Los Angeles Raiders. Okay, came home, joined his parents' very successful company, and you'll hear a lot more about the success. Kevin is a true hometown boy, makes good, real good, and you'll enjoy it hearing. Kevin has 3 children. He's married, has 3 children. Believes in making every day better than the day before. He's been a gold sponsor of the Spirit Run for the last 2 years, and as previously mentioned, a previous member of our club. Maybe after the success of today, look at him smiling. Yeah, he can rejoin. Please welcome the president and CEO of Service Champions, Kevin Comerford.
All right, great to be here. Great to be here. I want to first off say thank you to my parents, Don and Kathy, that really you're going to see some success that I've had. Without them, though, none of it would be possible. You're going to see a lot of stuff about Service Champions and what I've been able to build as far as core values. And it all started with my parents' business, Comerford's Heating and Air Conditioning, that they started back in 1972. I'd also like to thank Joe Cristiano, who, gosh, we've been a co-chairman or co-president of a mentor group for over 20 years, where we've been helping, gosh, every once a month, about 40 different businesses come in, and they come into the Service Champions, and we just talk to them about business strategies and techniques. And just want to say thank you, Joe, because I was your mentee for many, many years, and you've been a mentor of mine for forever and have helped me so much. And I appreciate everything you've done for me. He's just humble. We don't even pay. So, I'd like to just shout out really quick to Brad Hurst for asking me. We saw each other in the gym, and he said, Kevin, you need to come and speak to Rotary. They need to hear your story. And I'm like, really? Why? And he's like, buddy, you got a success story that people need to hear. So that's why I'm here. Thank you, Brad, for inviting me. And also want to thank Larry. Larry was my sponsor to Rotary here back in 1997. So appreciate that, Larry. And we've done business as well over the years. So thank you very much, and just happy to be here. The picture on the screen is where it all started for me. I grew up in Pleasanton on a street you may know as Chicken Alley. That's where I grew up, back around Happy Valley. We had I would call it, we weren't on a farm necessarily, we're more of a petting zoo. We had chickens and ducks and geese and horses, and that was really my upbringing. My parents, as they shared, owned a heating and air conditioning business. And I was going to make sure I'm doing this right. Did I do something wrong here? Technical difficulty. Did I grab the right one, I wonder?
I can do it manually.
Okay, go ahead. Why don't you do that? Yes, I went to Foothill. I know. I went to Foothill. My wife, Carolyn Walsh, also went to Foothill. And she was, when I was a senior, she was a freshman. We never knew each other in high school. We knew of each other. It's kind of an interesting story how we met each other back after college. Both my boys play varsity baseball on the Foothill baseball team right now. And so we're Foothill lovers. My daughter decided to go to Amador. So my daughter went to Amador, and if you want to go to the next slide, she is currently going to Cal Poly. That's where I went to school. Yes, that's where I went to school as well. She is studying psychology there, and I'll just tell you, I was never a great student, whether it was at Cal Poly or Foothill. The story about how I got into Cal Poly is my buddy Greg Russell came over to our house one day. And it was junior year, actually just started the senior year. And he said to me, Kevin, we've got to apply to Cal Poly. That's where my sister goes. She's in the nutrition department. And we would be the only guys in the nutrition department. So we'll totally get in. So we applied that day and really, my grades were not good enough to get in, but I think they needed a couple of token males. So they took me. So I was lucky before. I mean, now it's like 4.2, 4.3 to get into Cal Poly. It wasn't when I went there, thank God, right, Larry? It wasn't when I went there. But it was just a great experience for me. I grew up in a very blue collar environment when I was growing up. My godmother they owned a plumbing business. My dad's best friend was in the floor carpet laying business. So I was never really exposed to the idea of college. And so that's where, if you want to go to the next slide. I was never really exposed to much about college. And so when I went to college, I saw all these engineers, these architects, these smart, and I was like, wow, I was a little bit insecure to say the least. And then what I realized, and thankful to my mother, she kind of talked me straight and said, look, you're no different. You're no different. And if you come with energy and passion and excitement and fun, you deserve to be there. So I was brought up in the, 1980 when the United States won the gold medal. If you remember Al Michaels, I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. So that's where why I went to when I went to Cal Poly, that was my first idea, was that I wanted to get into broadcast journalism. And I got a job working for the Raiders for a couple of years and decided after working for the Raiders that the last thing I wanted to do was work in professional sports. Very, very different. Very different. From the outside, it looks very sexy. When you get inside, what I learned is it's almost like a caste system, meaning that there's the very rich, the players, and maybe one head coach, but everybody else is paid nothing. And they're worked really, really hard. I remember 60, 70, 80 hours, 80 hours a week I was working. And the guy that I was working for was full-time with the Raiders, and he was making $29,000 a year. He and I calculated that it was about a $40,000 reduction that they could pay for people to go work in professional sports because there was a line of people and the demand was so heavy. And I thought, it's great. I was flying on the plane with them. It was sexy, but then I thought, you know what? I'm going to go back and give my parents' company a shot. So I went back and I worked at my folks' company. This was what I found from an old keychain. You could see the 828-4652. It was when you didn't even have to put the area code. My parents started their business in 1972, and they ran the business very successfully for 24 years until they took the company public in 1996. I worked for the public company for 6 years and then decided to go out and start my own business. I started a company up here, you may not be familiar with it, called Service Champions. And what I learned from my folks was why I left the public company was because I wanted to get back to a hometown service, high touch service that my parents had built their business around. And I was ready to get out of, I think it was more of a Wall Street thing and wanted to take it back to Main Street. And that's why I started Service Champions. One of the things that we started the company with was, there's a book that helped me. Right when I started the business, it was called E-Myth. And one of the things I learned from E-Myth was the only reason you should be in business is to prepare yourself to sell your business. The only reason you should be in business is to get yourself prepared and your company prepared to sell it. And I didn't really understand that concept. But what the book talks about is the only way that you really build value and build a valuable business is if you can step away from the business and it's still worth something to somebody else. So E-Myth taught me to build systems, bring in managers, and run the business without Kevin Comerford being the technician that ran out and did the work. Because if you were to call me, the joke around my office is if you were to call me and your furnace was broken, I couldn't fix it. Only thing I could offer you is I could offer you a blanket. I could get it fixed really fast. I could have a technician there the same day, but my skills were never in fixing furnaces, fixing air conditioners. So what we started with at Service Champions, go to the next slide, is we started with what we call a set of core values. And maybe you've seen core values before. What I found, this has remained consistent for 20 years. Last March, so just a couple of months ago, we celebrated the 20-year anniversary of Service Champions. And what I have learned that it takes two things to be successful in business. You need consistency and you need innovation. So this is, to me, what we always came back to. No matter how much we grew, we always came back to our core values, decisions that we made in the company. These actually were established by the initial 11 people when I started Service Champions back in 2003. We came up with these core values. This next slide, which is what's called our core purpose. So one thing I'll say about core values real quick while we're fixing that is, well, never mind. Last thing about core values is these are things that I talk to our team members about. And right now at Service Champions, we've got 451 team members. And it's sometimes hard to believe when I walk around and I'm supposed to know everybody's name, because Joe knew everybody's name at Kelly Moore. And I've got that to live up to. And with 451 team members now, we have the core values that we constantly go back to. We put on a culture day once a quarter where we bring in the team members and we talk about what is the culture of Service Champions and why is that different? Because to me, in today's business world, I believe the only competitive advantage we have in business is our culture. Everybody else can copy a 10-year guarantee, whatever it is. They can't copy the culture and the attitudes and behaviors of the team members. Because I believe, and I share this with my people all the time, that if we are the fastest and the friendliest, we will win. And that plus we live by a motto that is, the smaller they think we are, the larger we will get. So it's all about talking to our call center agents all the time about something my mother taught me when I was young, which is make that customer feel like they are the only customer that we're going to do business with today. The only one. And again, once the smaller they think we are, the larger we will get. And it's worked for us. This is if we go back to our core purpose. So we have the core values, and then the next slide. Really simple. Learn how, do it now, and create wow. With 451 team members, what I've learned is I have to simplify everything. Like, simplification is the way for us to continue to grow. And we do it through this message, which is learn how. So we're a learning organization, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. We've created a university. So my passion is developing people. So I love to see young technicians that never went to a four-year school come into our trade. We teach them the trade. Our philosophy is we hire for attitude and train for skill. So when we do it all through our university, so we're a learning organization. Do it now. To learn how to do it now is really about, as I said earlier, that we got to act with urgency, be the fastest and the friendliest, and we'll win if we just get to the client before, say, all these businesses that are wanting to get into our business, Apple and Google, and with buying Nest. I'm convinced that we will continue to win if we are the fastest and the friendliest. And then Create Wow is on every call, figure out a way to create wow, blow the client away with your actions. So learn how, do it now, create wow. Next slide. So we started in 2003, Service Champions did, and we skyrocketed. We grew, we were a sales and marketing machine. We grew to 15 million in revenue in 4 years. And what I learned was that there's a lot more to business than just sales and marketing. Next slide. And there was lots of challenges that we had going on. There was customer service issues going on. We grew incredibly fast. I had discovered that we had about a $1.3 million embezzlement that I uncovered from an accounting manager. I had a lawsuit that I was dealing with that ended up turning into a frivolous class action lawsuit. Some of you may have dealt with stuff like that, a frivolous class action lawsuit that I had to pay $1 million out of my own pocket. And so we were exploding and doing really great. And part of it was, I think I took my eye off the ball. And one of the things that actually saved me, believe it or not, was this right here. Something as simple as a journal and writing down, okay, what went on in my day? What were the conversations I had? What were the things that people told me they were going to get done, whether it was managers, because I don't have a great memory. And I was always a forward-thinking guy, optimist, and I never looked back. What my journal helped me do is it helped me get into the habit of every single morning waking up, and I take about 1.5 hours to 2 hours just to look back on my previous day, look back on the conversations I had, look back on the interactions I had, look back on the projects I was working on. Why? Because when I wake up, I like to write out what were my top 3 or 4 wins from the previous day. And then when I'm done writing out my wins, I'm ready to tackle today. So writing out my wins helps me get rid of the stinking thinking that's going on in my mind in the morning. And there was a lot of that going on when all this stuff was going on in my business. Because on top of this, I also made some bad hires because I had lost a lot of confidence in myself. Like, am I really capable of running this business? So I went out and made some hires that almost then took my business under. Next slide. And I was the issue. That's what I realized in my own business. I was the issue. I needed to get back to work. I needed to be a better leader. And it was this book that I discovered in 2009 and the teachings in this book, Mastering the Rockefeller Habits, that I implemented in my company that completely turned my company around. We transformed from an entrepreneurial-led business to a professionally managed business with an entrepreneurial spirit. Let me say that again. And I don't know, some of you may be in the same boat, but I was the prototypical entrepreneurial business guy at the top running the business. If something were to have happened to me, the business would have been done. This book helped me go from, again, an entrepreneurial-led business to a professionally managed business with an entrepreneurial spirit. Next slide. As well as having great mentors. I mentioned Joe earlier. Joe and I would meet once a month and he would hold my butt accountable to things that I said I was going to get done. And I cannot tell you the power of mentorship, whether it was Joe Cristiano or the mastermind group that I had set up inside my industry. I wanted to be the biggest HVAC company. So I went and found who were the top players in the industry. And I put together a group, which is funny, has transformed into the what is today in our industry, which is there's a big consolidation going on with private equity firms, and all the guys that we started this group with were all the guys that have aligned with private equity firms. And it was the mentor group that I had started called the families group. And so I have to tell you that one thing I learned as a small business owner is I just need to find great people to surrender to. Just surrender, Kevin. Just get over your own ego, let go, surrender to people that have had more success. Make sure they're successful, because trust me, I've gone down that road, following people that, maybe they had a great business, but their family was falling apart. They weren't taking care of themselves. So but I will tell you, the mentoring was a big reason for my success. About 8 years ago, I started a university inside Service Champions. There was a huge labor issue and a huge labor shortage. And so I started this thinking, okay, Wyotech is closed, trade school. UTA had closed in Arizona, trade school. All the trade schools were closing, as you may know, or they were all teaching commercial. We're a residential heating and air conditioning company. So we go into mom and dad's homes, service their furnace, their air conditioner, and replace it. Nobody was teaching them. So I decided to start Champions University. Champions University has been the key to our growth. So much so that last June, I went out and hired a former principal in the Pleasanton Unified School District to come in and run Champions University. His name's Mike O'Brien. He was the principal at Vintage Hills High School. He's come in and he now runs Champions University. We're growing his staff. He's got 6 different trainers that are working for him, and it's all around building these young men and women in the trades, because everybody is like moving towards high tech, and I'm like, whoa. There is a hell of an opportunity for the trades, and that's what Champions University has been for us. Next slide. By the way, we're working on another principal as we speak. Not in Pleasanton. So, they're coming to us. So in 2019, I was approached by a private equity firm, and I had grown the business to 50 million in revenue. And I had about 200 trucks on the road, and there was a ton of liability, and I was 100% owner. And I felt like every single day I was pushing all of my chips on the table in. And I used to say I was one truck slamming into the side of a school bus away from being done in business. And really, I thought, I knew I wanted to get to 100 million in revenue. Do I want to do this on my own? And do I want to take 100% of all the responsibility, all the liability? And I made the decision that I wanted to bring in a financial partner. And that's who the Wrench Group is. And we did this in June of 2020. I kept a significant part ownership. I'm still running the business every day. But what it's allowed me to do is it has allowed to free my mind from a big component of a small business owner, which is the treasury component, the payroll, all the decisions that you have to make when it comes to the financial side. Certainly the financial, like P&L, I've got that responsibility, but this has just helped free my mind so much. And in 2 years, we went from 50 million. If you want to go to the next slide. Keep going. Yeah, so we went to 105 million in 2 years. It's almost, and so much of that is driven by the university. We won top workplaces in the Bay Area and then top workplaces USA. We've been members, Diamond certified for over 19 years. I think there might be one more. You have to return one more. And we're an A+ member in the VVB. So it's constant managing that. And anybody always managing that. It's like, it's so fragile. It's so fragile, especially with lots of team members that are going into homes every day that we really don't have control of their behaviors, because it's not like we own an In-N-Out Burger and I can watch all the team members. So it's why I go back to that simple messaging, and that's been the key to our success. So if we go forward, one last slide. So, you know, at Serve Champions, the future is super bright. I've got a plan. I want to grow it to 250 million in the next 3 to 5 years. And I really believe that we can, for a couple of reasons. Number one is we've got that university, and we are going all in on Champions University and going all in on developing people. A lot of people think we're in the heating and air conditioning business. We're actually in the people development business. And if we can develop people really, really well, they're going to go out and take care of our clients. That's always been my mantra. And it is going to be the university that fuels us and keeps people driving to want more. And as we continue to grow, what we've had is we've got a bunch of technicians that have elevated into management roles, and I know that's going to continue. So with that, I'll turn it back over. Thanks very much.
Any questions, pressing question?
Is that too long?
No, that was great. Thank you very much.
All right.
We hit all the key points. All right, unless there's anything else somebody forgot that I forgot that they remembered. It's,
Opportunity drive.
Opportunity, right, thank you. We have anybody tickets? Jim, you wanna just come on up, Dennis? Grab a ticket, let's get it done.
$82.
And the lucky winner is
808.
808. Yours.
Of course.
Here we go.
Go get the next one too.
I don't know if it's got your name on it or not. It's the same one I get every time.
Well, this weekend is Mother's Day. There's supposed to be a rose show, I think where is it, at the library, or there's a senior center, there's gonna be a wonderful rose show. Yeah, that's probably involved in that.
811.
811. So everybody wish your mother, or if you want to have a mother, wish her a happy Mother's Day. Where would we be without mothers?
Well, thank you.
All right, thank you all. Have a wonderful weekend.